More than 30 million travelers each year. And now we are in day 18 of the government shutdown. One of the bigger effects and concerns from it is, of course, travel. And with no end in sight, federal workers from agencies like the TSA and FAA are being asked to show up to work, but many of them are going without pay. So what does it mean for those workers, their families, and the millions of Americans with travel plans in the coming days and weeks? Joining us to explain more is Katy Nastro, spokesperson and travel expert for the online travel platform Going. It is so good to see you, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Gio. Thanks for having me.
Well, like we said, it's day 18 of this government shutdown. We were expecting a lot of delays. We've seen some, and there have been some days when it's been rough, but overall, it hasn't been as bad as we thought.
Yeah, the perception when you hear air traffic control staffing or any type of massive delays due to a government shutdown is that it's out of normal. But honestly, when we look at the data, according to Cirium data, across the last 17 days, we've only seen about roughly 21% on average of flights being delayed. Cancellations below average, not even 1%, roughly just 1%. So it can feel as though there have been this just waterfall of delays due to sick callouts, but it really hasn't been any worse than, say, a major storm that's occurred in this time period. So we want travelers to understand that they shouldn't automatically anticipate that something terrible is going to happen. They're going to have a significant delay. It just is, on average, day to day, pretty normal.
It's so fascinating. So if people are part of that 21%, they get a significant delay, or part of that 1% that gets a cancellation, what should they do?
Okay, well, first things first, remember, regardless if it's a significant delay due to the shutdown or just weather, that's where we typically see most delays occur, or a cancellation, remember, you always have that right to a refund per DOT regulations. As well, if you don't want to take the refund, you get that rebooking. You unfortunately don't get compensation. But if you are encountering a significant delay, always have that airline app downloaded so you can make changes in real time. Our little hack that we love over at Going, always give that international line a call. If you can't get through to the domestic customer service line, most full service airlines have an international line, and a lot of times you can get through to someone sooner.
What do we think about the domestic shutdown and, the domestic economy, the tourism economy that's so important? What do we think? Is there an effect there when it comes to tourism domestically?
Yeah, what's interesting, according to the Delta CEO, it hasn't impacted travel in that we're still seeing upwards of 2.9 million people traveling over, on average, less than that. That was sort of the top end of what we've seen in the last 17 days. So this really hasn't impacted travel in the way that we might have thought it would. But here's really the name of the game, Gio. The longer this continues, the higher the likelihood we might see delays and more impacts, longer TSA lines. This is where we might find that people opt to take that refund versus a rebooking because they just don't want to deal with the likelihood, or the higher likelihood, that they could encounter some sort of disruption. So it's really, we don't know what's going to happen. We obviously don't know how long this government shutdown will last, but I'm really curious to see how many travelers continue to travel amid this government shutdown when we just don't know what will happen.
And we know that during the last major shutdown, it was actually the impact on travel that ended that shutdown.
Exactly.
So we will see what happens here.
Dot.
Katy Nastro of Going. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.